Very good afternoon, Mr. Mihir, Ajit Shah, Mr. Danis Zahid, and Mr. Nikhil Jhunjhunwala from Yes Bank, all other officials of Yes Bank, and fellow members of the Plastics Export Promotion Council. It's a great pleasure and a proud privilege for me to welcome you all on this webinar on latest changes and updates announced by DGFT Customs, GST, and update on online compliances, and which is being organized jointly by Yes Bank and the Plastic Export Promotion Council, Kolkata chapter. We are thankful to Yes Bank for facilitating to organize this seminar for the benefit of our member exporters, and I hereby take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Mihir Ajit Shah, who will be making a presentation, as well as Mr. Nikhil Jhunjhunwala on the inputs of this, the today's seminar. I hope that this session will help you and also will help us to understand the various changes and updates announced by the DGFT as well as by the customs and the GST, and also the update on the online compliances. And with this few words, may I kindly invite Mr. Nikhil Jhunjhunwala of Yes Bank to deliver his address. Mr. Nikhil Jhunjhunwala.
Thank you, Mr. Pal, and lovely introduction. So, on behalf of Yes Bank, we are pleased to participate in 4 years now, and we would like to take this opportunity to show our gratitude to Mr. Prasann Goya, Mr. Nilokpal Biswas, and of course, Mr. Pal is there, and all the other dignitaries from Tax Council for this collaboration. We as a bank are, in terms of trade and FX services, we are a world-class digital banking platform and have immensely helped thousands of exporters across the country to seamlessly manage their transactions and rates. As you all are now aware that we are backed by the best banking institutions in India, so we are as stronger ever. Yes Bank is providing a complete range of products, services, and MSME as
निखिल, आई थिंक देयर इज अ नेटवर्क इशू. आप अपना वीडियो बंद कर सकते हैं, वीडियो ऑफ कर लीजिए आप. ऑडियो यू कैन यूज योर ऑडियो ओनली. इट विल बी बेटर देन.
Okay, sure. So is it clear now?
Better, much better.
Much better.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of product offering, I guess different kinds of products which we cater to. Just to give a brief, I'll not take much of the time. So in terms of trade finance solutions, for the exporters, we provide pre-shipment finance facility and as well as post-shipment. For pre-shipment finance, again, we provide facility foreign currency, and same goes for post-shipment finance facility. We have stated in all wherein all the service requests are handled. We have a dedicated manager for all which are being onboarded with by us. Now, brief about which are which cater to the each and independent requirement in terms of finance, in terms of providing any kind of business solutions. Now, in terms of service, once in case of exporters or importers, we have a platform which is called Trade Online. Request digitally for any kind of service request, and that we process within in no time. Unlike earlier, we used to we used to sort physical request in terms of any kind of trade facility. When the customer is onboarded into the online platform, it becomes a seamless which offer the customers. So this is something which we are very proud of trade, and we take pride in giving this to all our trade customers on a timely manner, which helps us, increase the relationship with all the customers. Now, coming to financing part, I just like to elaborate on a couple of points. We have a product called Smart Edge, wherein we can take exposure up to a limit of 3 crores, wherein we do not require any financial statements. I repeat, the up to a limit of 3 crore, we do not require any financials. Just on the basis of your bank statements of last 12 months and on the basis of GST returns which are filed, we do the assessment, and after it is done, we come at a figure up to a limit of 3 crores we can easily extend. Of course, the limit will be backed by collateral. So for all practical purposes, these kind of limit we give to the customers who are already enjoying limits elsewhere and who are looking for enhancement, is not or taking some time, assess the limits. In that, this is the easy kill product wherein we do not do any financial analysis. Only on the basis of bank statement and GST returns, up to a limit of 3 crore can be sanctioned. So this is the fantastic proposition which we have come recently. I should say in the last 6 months, we have done recently well in this product. So I would insist all of you to get in touch with the Yes Bank representative in wherever city or state which you are present, for just to take the brief details about this product. Second, which is very important for this, many of us who would be into the manufacturing sector, wherein there are requirements of procurement of new machinery, or you need overhauling or new molds on the plant. So equipment is something which we can offer, which is purely on the basis of the value of the machinery, up to 80% of the total value of the plant and machinery we can fund. And it is completely unsecured, and this is something again which we have done reasonably well in this particular field. So these are the brief which we do. Deal relationship handling the account, he or she will be able to give tailor-made solutions across the field. So that's it from my side. To add, or I would like to invite, I would ask Mr. Pal to start the presentation and thank you so much. Mr. Pal, to you.
Thank you, Nikhil. I think there was a audio issue from the Nikhil side, so my apologies for the same to all the attendees who are present over there. But nevertheless, we will definitely connect you one-on-one, and we will discuss on the products line, which Nikhil was telling you. It was more of some of the products were collateralized products, some of the products were non-collateralized. We also do machine finance, which is basis the machine hypothecation. So there was no collateral which is required in that case. So I think Amit ji, are you there? So we can move on to the main session, and our anchor speaker for the day is Mr. Mihir Ajit Shah, who will be taking you through on the program overview and guidelines latest of our exporters and importers. So Amitji, over to you, please.
Yep. Thank you very much, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, and we hope that many of the member exporters, in case if they have any kind of question, they can really raise their questions in the chat box, or they can raise their hand. I'm sure after the presentation is over, their queries can be properly answered. Now, with this, may I invite now Mr. Mihir Ajit Shah to make his presentation. And before I invite him, I would like to basically, tell something about his illustrious career. That Mr. Ajit Shah is a consultant and a trainer specializing in international business. He has degrees in commerce and law, as well as an MBA holder. He is an ICC certified Incoterms 2020 trainer. His experience uh, includes all aspects of tax and foreign exchange controls. The sectoral experience covers the plastics, chemicals, cosmetics, engineering products, footwear, food products, jewelry, pharmaceutical, vessels, printing, textile, as well as software. He is a very much regular faculty and trainer for various export promotion councils, various chamber of commerce associations, and is and in many leading companies for topics related to the international business. With this kind, in a few words, may I kindly invite Mr. Mihir Ajit Shah to make his presentation for today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, Mr. Pal, for that wonderful introduction. The good news, Mr. Pal, is we have broken that good luck number of participants. We have already crossed that 50 mark. So you have introduced to me at the right good luck time. Thank you so very much.
Most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Danish, again, and inviting me again with Yes Bank. It's always a pleasure. And as a part of my session today, in fact, it's coincident that it's coincidentally that I am on a session, on a back-to-back session with Danish and Yes Bank's team today. So great to meet again the team from Yes Bank on this afternoon session, and with Plex Council and team of plastic exporters. Friends, I hope you're all doing well, all are safe and sound. Thank you for joining on this session. The agenda for the day obviously is to update you about the latest changes, modifications, and obviously the online compliances. Just to set the context right, last 1.5 years have been dramatic. Many have seen opportunities, many have seen troubles, many have seen challenges. But most importantly, one thing which has been constant is that a lot of new initiatives, a lot of changes have happened on the side of the government. And from an international business perspective, a lot of changes have happened for an exporter, either in terms of the processes or in terms of the compliances. Many of you are regularly following it up. Many of you are aware of those changes. Great. Congratulations to all of you, because the amount of changes which keeps on happening is tremendous. But many of you may miss out on some of the updates. So what we've tried to put out is an encapsulated version of whatever has happened in very recent past, which is directly or indirectly going to affect you as an exporter, you as an importer, and will help you for your future exports and imports. So let me quickly share my screen and begin our session for the day. Danish, I believe the audio is it fine?
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Perfect. Chalo, great. So we are going to look at various aspects of the various transactions and the agencies which have kept on issuing various rules, notifications, circulars for you as an exporter. Mind you, the presentation, as I mentioned, it's updated as on yesterday. I just happened to sneak in and check. There is, at this point of time, just before we joined in the session, no new notifications come. The cabinet press meeting had just happened, but the announcement in the cabinet is also not directly related anything with the plastics. One PLI scheme has just been announced, but that is for steel and engineering sector. So that has also been taken care for. Hopefully, this is what is up to date as on today. Talking about our first and the foremost primary agency is the Director General of Foreign Trade, the DGFT, which more or less on a macro basis controls all our, as an exporter, our transactions, our governance, our compliances, by way of a foreign trade policy. As exporters, you are aware, the foreign trade policy is for a period of 5 years. The original policy, which was a policy effective from 1st of April 2015, was to expire on 31st of March 2020. And we were right in the verge and a startup of a pandemic, and with lockdowns in place and stuff being very difficult, the policy was extended for 1 year. That means the policy was to expire on 31st of March 2021. Now, on 31st of March 2021, it was further extended for 6 months until 30th of September 2021. So the existing policy, which is the policy of 1520, which all of us have been using, is practically extended for 1.5 years. That is 1 year earlier, and now up to 30th of September 2021. So all procedures, all documentations, all uh, principal decisions on the policy are governed, obviously, by the foreign trade policy extended and the notifications and circulars issued under that. However, effective of 1st of October 2021, we will most likely be having a new foreign trade policy. The councils and the DGFT are already taking suggestions and updates and views from the stakeholders. In fact, the DGFT has created a Google form inviting suggestions, views, inputs for the new policy so that it can directly reach to the people who are responsible to create this policy. Any exporter, any member, any importer wanting to give a suggestion or provide some inputs are free to. Obviously, you can certainly write to Plex Council, and I'm sure they'll take it up and they'll summarize all the issues related to plastics and submit their reviews. But as an exporter, you can directly also go to the necessary link and provide the information and provide the details which are available or which is required for you to suggest to the government. This is for the future. What about current? What as we talk today on 22nd of July? Well, there are things which are going to continue, as we've already said in the macro picture, that the foreign trade policy is continued. So things will continue. But that continue has to have certain support notifications, because many of those were time bound. Many of them were extended, but then date of extension is already completed. What about that? So, well, there are things which have been extended and they have been supported. So let's start with the first one. Many of you exporters are status holders. Status holders meaning you have 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. You are an exporter on a regular basis. You are an exporter with a good track record. And as per the status holder certificate, your certificate is valid for 5 years. This term or this period was remodified, and it was said the certificate will be valid for 5 years or until 31st of March 2021, whichever is later. This was done last year when the policy was extended for 1 year. So it said it is valid for 5 years or until 31st of March 2021, whichever is later. The amendment which is now been put in place, it says it is 30th of March is going to be read as 30th of September 2021 or whichever is later, which means any of you whose status holder certificate is or was to expire in this period of extended period of this foreign trade policy, you still are a status holder. You still have the 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 star certificate, and it will remain valid till the new policy is in place, that is up to 30th of September 2021. and obviously the privileges continue. My exporter friends who used to import raw materials under advance authorization, or they are importing capital goods under a scheme called EPCG, Export Promotion Capital Goods Scheme. Under both the schemes, the IGST, the GST exemption which is there, was via a notification which had a time limit, which said it would be up to 31st of March 2021. Both under the foreign trade policy as well as under the customs, the notifications have been issued. Under the foreign trade policy, the notification says the IGST exemption is extended, or it is not up to 31st of March, but it is up to 30th of September. Whereas the GST Council, and based on the GST Council, the custom has notified by notification number 23 that the IGST exemption on advance authorization and EPCG is extended for an entire 1 full year, that is up to 31st of March 2022. Now, many will get confused saying, why is this is 22 and why that is September? Friends, the policy which is extended is up to 30th of September. So that notification has to expire on 30th of September. Hence, the DGFT notification is up to 30th of September. I'm sure when the new policy will come, it will automatically be carried forward as per the custom notification up to March of 2022. So you have not to worry. The IGST exemption under advance authorization or under EPCG, either of the schemes you are applying, it will continue. Friends who are applying advance authorization and they do not have a standard input output norms, they don't have SION. So when they don't have a SION, they have to apply for ad hoc norms, popularly called as no norms, para 4.07. When they apply under that, the no norms or the norms which is approved by the norms committee is valid for a period of 3 years. So the clause said it will be valid for a period of 3 years or up to 31st of March 2021, whichever is later. That ad hoc norms para has been amended to say 3 years or up to 30th of September 2021, whichever is later. So obviously your ad hoc norm, which is valid, which was issued to you, let's say 3 years back, and it had a validity up to 31st of March 2021, again gets extended up to 30th of September 2021. Now, when we are talking about all of these extensions, now this is basically meant so that the continuity is there. It is meant so that there is no trouble to the exporters, that exporters don't have to spend time on applying, reapplying things. However, in a major shift from the manual processing with the focus of obviously digital India and ease of doing business, DGFT way back last year, and I remember categorically it was July of 2020. To be precise, it was I think 13th of July last year. They have migrated from the old website to a new website. The new website or the new platform, the website address remains the same, dgft.gov.in, but the entire website is completely new. It is revamped. It has the latest technologies and it has the latest details available at a click of a button. To give you an example of the latest technology being used, if you see at the extreme right bottom corner, there's a picture of a lady and it says Ask Wahi. Wahi is a virtual assistant chatbot. It is artificial intelligence based. So if you have a question for the Wahi, you can click on Ask Wahi, type in your question, and through artificial intelligence, through the chatbot mechanism, the Wahi will provide you answers, and not only answer, probably support it with you with a notification. So this is the kind of upgradation which the department has looked into, created a new platform. And when there's a new platform, there's a new method, there's a new way how you have to use it. And my request to all the exporters is please pay some attention on this few slides, very important, because this is now going to be the new way forward. This is the way where the exporters have no choice but to use this method. And if used it appropriately, correctly, I think many things will be available at a click of a button. So we've already discussed that's a new FLAG website, the new digital platform called the dgft.gov.in. It is already functioning. It is almost a year now. Technically, I believe it's on the third phase of implementation. So we are good with it. But as an exporter, what are we supposed to do? As an exporter, apart from there are some basic information, general information related to export import, related to notifications, which are all available on the platform. There is no registration, nothing required. But for you as an exporter, if you want your specific requirements or you want to use the services of DGFT, that means you want to apply for licenses, you have to apply for any certificates. All of these will now only be possible once you have a login access on the DGFT website. How do you create a login ID? Very simple, just like how you create any login for any other system. You will go to the option. It says option login or register. You register with basic information, the name, the last name, email ID, mobile number, your district, your PIN code, and a verification will be done on both mobile and email, and a password will be generated and a login ID is created. Very simple. The email ID becomes your login ID. The password is emailed to you, one-time password. You will have to reset and save a new password, and you are done. So it's as simple as to create a login. And as soon as you create a login, you are able to access the basic dashboard. Now, please understand that is once you have created your login ID, you can create or you will be able to open a dashboard. As you could see right in the center of the screen, the dashboard has no information. The reason being the dashboard is not linked to your data. When you as an exporter have to get the data, you have to link it with your data, and for linking, the referral point or the connection point is your IEC number. In your company, you could be 3, 4, 10 people, 20 people. You could be exporter. Many of you have access to information. Who has created it? So the information which is related to your IEC should only be given to authorized person. So there is a access requirement where you will first link your IEC. If you are a first timer, if you have not have an IEC, obviously you can straight away apply your IEC. But unless you have an IEC, obviously no service can be taken on the DGFT platform. For all of us, the Plex Council members, we are all exporters. We can just go and link your IEC. Now, linking an IEC means an authentication. It's just like simple. You have your bank account, maybe you have another bank account. And then you want to link both to one user ID so that you can easily access. Obviously, when you link bank account to your username or your login, it will ask you for authentication because account number can be known to anybody. But how can you not verify without giving, without verifying, how can you link it? So to link your IEC, when you will link your IEC, when you click on the linking IEC, it will of course ask you the IEC number, and it will then give you an option to link your IEC via two methods. One, via the digital signature, that is the DSC, or via Aadhaar-based verification. My request to all of you is to please pay attention to this because this is some challenges in some cases. Now, which kind of DSC is available and what Aadhaar is available is just to be understood. First and foremost, for the DSC, we have got three options. For all my exporters who have been using the DGFT existing old platform also, maybe applying for their MEIS, Advanced Authorization, EPCG, whatever reason, they have a DSC which is called the DGFT DSC, or probably technically called as the DSC with the IEC number. If that digital signature is available to you in whoever's name it is, any of the director, any of the partner, it will work because the IEC number is matched. The second option, if you do not have the DGFT DSC, but you have a class 2 or a class 3 individual signature. Individual meaning a person signature. Now, please remember, if in your company, you have been authorized to use or create login, you are the whole and sole handling export department. But if you are not proprietor partner director, then that individual DSC will not work because the individual DSC, the name as per the DSC, the name in the PAN, and the name in the IC, all these parameters will be matched. If these three parameters are matched, only then the IC will be linked. In fact, there are instances currently where the director's name, let's say Mr. Amit Pal is one of the director in the company, and his name in the records is Mr. Amit Pal, and in the PAN card or in the DSC, it is say Mr. Amit Kumar Pal. My friends, unfortunately, that will not be accepted and you will have a challenge. And Mr. Amit Kumar Pal is a very right name because his PAN card says that. But because his existing IC says Amit Pal, unfortunately, it will not get mapped. You will have to use the other options. The third option is to have an IC on the organization name. So in organization DSC, the DSC should have the name of the company as per company's PAN, and the name of the company as per IEC should match. Now here, of course, the problem gets reduced, but there is still some cases where we have seen problem. The problem is because erstwhile we were doing manual application where though it was on computer, but it was typed. And many times people would have typed the company name as, let's say, pvt.ltd as private limited. Somebody would have said, have typed completely. I recently came across a company name where the word India is used in brackets. So the company name was, let's say, Mihir Shah India Private Limited. And for years, they are using it as India is in the brackets. Now, the PAN number does not have brackets. Now, the IC already is there, or the IC already has pvt.ltd, whereas your PAN and your DSC is having PRIVATE space LIMITED. Now this entire thing is not matching with your existing records and it will pose a challenge for you. Request is to use either of these three DSC, whichever is applicable, and or rectify wherever is the change required, but use it to link your IC. If you are not able to use the DSC, you can also use Aadhaar based verification. Again, my request is please check the Aadhaar verification will only work of proprietor, partner, director of the company, subject to that the name and the year of birth, meaning the year in the PAN card, is matching as per as Aadhaar, which again means the name has to exactly same. Amit Pal and Amit Kumar Pal will not work if there is a problem. Now, why it is so important? Because unless you do this, you will not be able to link. But if you have used this, if you have been able to successfully do it, what will happen is it will link your IEC, link your data to that login. Now you are ready to do everything related to that company through this platform, which means it will tell you your IEC is valid or not. It will tell you your old license details. It will have all your old records and the records which it has been able to fetch it from the system earlier. And you are good for the future as well, because everything, for anything and everything, you now will have to use this login and this access to be able to do that. So this is as per the new system is concerned. However, until this point, it was just simple enough. It was just to create and link it so that you can use some information in future. However, friends, there is a challenge now. And the challenge is that on 12th of February 2021, DGFT came up with a notification which said that an IEC holder, meaning an exporter or an importer, whoever is an IEC, is compulsory supposed to update their IEC every year in the first quarter, that is April to June. They have to compulsory update it electronically. Even if there is no changes, they have to compulsory do it. And if they don't do it, it will get deactivated. So it is very, very important. Of course, you can apply it later, but then that reactivation may obviously be subject to some checks and balances, maybe subject to some fees. Currently, for this annual update, there are no fees. So there could be charges, there could be deactivation, there could be loss of time as well. Now, considering this challenge for the first time ever, the notification was been amended, and it said that for current year, there's an extension given for 1 month. That means until 31st of July, you can do it. Today, friends, we are on 22nd of July. We hardly have any days. People who have been probably trying to do it and have experienced it in on the last days of June, 28th, 29th, and 30th, would have experienced, just like any other server, a big, huge load coming on that server, and people were really not able to do it and struggling to do it. My request, without wasting any time, is to update your IC online. So number one, get your login. Number two, link your IEC. And number three, and I'll tell you why this is important, because people miss out on this, is number three, to update your IEC. Now, how as an exporter you would know that you have updated or not? Well, of course you know it because there's an application records. However, once you have done it, you will get an IEC which you can download. And what you have to look out is on the left hand side bottom, it says last modified date. If that last modified date is anytime between 1st of April to, in this case, 31st of July, you are good. You are okay, you are fine. So please remember that you have to first create your login, then you will have to link your IEC, and third, update. We have got hundreds of queries where we said, yeah, we have done it. We have linked it. We got all the login details. Friends, login is good for all other services, which we'll discuss, all your processes. But if your IEC is not updated, if you have not done the third step, post 31st of July, your IEC may become deactivated. So watch out. There is a detailed video available on steps to be followed. The FAQ and the notifications are up on the DGFT website. And I'm sure Plex Councils and others have already shared the relevant information to all of you so that you can easily, without any hassles, update your IEC and be rest assured that there is going to be no troubles on 1st of August. What can you do after you have updated and what can you do after you've logged in and create? Well, all our services related to DGFT, that means your advance authorization, whether it is existing advance authorization which you already hold, for which you want to do revalidation, or you want to apply for closure, or you want to do a clubbing, or you want to apply a fresh new application, whether you want to apply for a DFIA, or you want to apply for a EPCG scheme, or submit documents related to EPCG. All of these have been fully, completely migrated on the online platform. There were closure related issues, which was manual. The closure of the license is also now, the clubbing is also now migrated to online. So whether it is issuance, whether it is amendment, or any of the mid process, whether it's invalidation or whether it is revalidation of the licenses, or whether it is a closure, has all been moved to the online platform. MEIS. I'm aware that MEIS is been closed. MEIS is no more functioning effective of 1st of January 2021. However, for the old schemes, the old period, meaning old claims which you have to do, especially for the financial year 1920, the MEIS is been extended for a period of the MEIS application period. Let me put it like this. The application period without any late cut has been extended till 30th of September. So you can apply till 30th of September, no late cut. After that, late cut will apply. Unfortunately, very recently, just few days back, probably I would say just few days back, the module of MEIS, SCIS, and others has been discontinued due to some IT upgradation, and temporarily it has not been made available. As I speak today, I have just verified it. It's still not active because the module is still being upgraded. So as we speak, temporarily MEIS module is not available, but as and when it will be available, 2018, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21 up to December of 21. You can apply for September of 20 to December of 20. From 1st of September 20 to December of 20, you are going to be able to apply with a maximum cap of 2 crores. And obviously some conditions are there in case if you have not exported in last 1 year prior to that period, you are not eligible. If your IC is issued after 1st of September, then you are not eligible. And obviously from 1st of January 2021, you are any which way is not eligible because MEIS ceased to operate. So MEIS scheme doesn't operate after 1st of from 31st of December, from 1st of January, it doesn't happen. So that takes care of your MEIS module. Finally, before we move on to the next part of our discussion, the online module and the online system is not just restricted to the website. DGFT also created a mobile app exactly replicating the website, providing you all of it on your fingertips on your mobile phone. Uh, Again, you can use the same login credentials to log on, so then you can have things already on your mobile phone. So a DGFT trade facilitation app has been inaugurated or available both on the Google platform as well as iOS platform. So you can be on the toes of everything and aware of all the latest update changes which are being happening. One of the key document as of time of processing your export orders over the years has become certificate of origin. Certificate of origin is become one of the key document, especially for exporters, for specific buyer requirements, and for exporters who are exporting under a free trade agreement. DGFT came up with a common online portal for this certificate system, which is called COO, that is Certificate of Origin .dgft.gov.in. Again, this has been done for a long time earlier. This was specifically only for the preferential certificate of origin to begin with. What do I mean by preferential? The certificate of origin issued under the free trade agreements. Your EIAs, your FIO, your textile committee, the others which were issuing it under the free trade agreement. The certificate of origin which would help your buyer to pay less duty or no duty. So this specific certificate of origin were issued under this platform. To utilize this online platform, earlier it was optional, now it is become, of course, mandatory for preferential certificate of origin. You would require obviously a valid IEC updated on the system. Not only updated IEC, when you update it, obviously the mobile and email ID will be updated. You will require a digital signature certificate containing IEC number, meaning the IEC based DGFT digital signature. It's compulsory. A software installation called the Java, which obviously I believe is there in most cases, but it will automatically get downloaded when you work on the system. So that's good enough. You need to register on this platform. So there's an option where you can register. Now, please remember, unless and until your IEC data is updated, the details which will reflect here will be as per the IEC. So when you click on the registration option, you will click on this. If you do not have a login ID, so click on the registration option. You put in your IEC, it will fetch the data. And once you confirm the details, you will get the password generated. Here, the login ID is your IEC number and the password which has been generated, which you will reset it up. Now, this process is already been done and it has been in existence for, I think, about 1.5 to 2 years for the preferential certificate of origin. DGFT came up with a trade notice informing that they would also want to extend this facility to the non-preferential certificate of origin. This non-preferential certificate of origin, the certificate of origin which you get from your Chamber of Commerce, associations, the authorized agencies under the DGFT authority who have been authorized to issue it, who have been applying and who have got the authority to issue you the certificate of origin. Anybody, any association, any chamber, any organization where you apply, which is basically a non-preferential certificate of origin. Now, this will also be allowed on the online platform through this common platform. So now we have an option, or the facility is available for preferential as well as non-preferential. The system was in place and it has been tried to work out, but obviously there are some challenges. The intention was that the system would be started and would function at least from 1st of July. However, due to some challenges, it has now been decided that it will be extended. The compulsory issuance of non-preferential certificate of origin from this common platform has been extended up to 30th of September, meaning up to 30th of September, the exporter and the chamber or the association or the organization can issue via this common platform or via manually, via paper-based, or via their own software system, whatever they have. But by 30th of September, they should get upgraded or migrated to the system. And then most likely, that is from the 1st of October, they will, or you and me as an exporter, will be able to apply only through this common portal, whether non-preferential or preferential certificate of origin. So we've done the DGFT signature, DGFT website. We've gone to the certificate of origin platform. So the export procedure and the policy has been taken care of. In an export of goods, there is another agency or the another side of the story, the physical movement of the goods, and there customs play an important role. So Central Board of Indirect Taxes, that is the GST department, and the customs play an active role for all of our transactions. And they also have to be, or you have to be aware of how they play and their role is into these changing times. I'm not too sure how many of you are aware, but since the time of pandemic, at least one department which is completely gone online internally as well is the CBIC. The CBIC, the board has implemented the e-office module within themselves. So typically all those files and papers and the notes which used to move within officers is completely gone. The days have gone and they have moved to a digital based solution, which is e-office. Now that's of course internally. What about externally? If you recollect on the eve of the finance budget, the finance minister on 1st of February, she had mentioned in the speech that they would create one common electronic customs portal, which would interact, which would offer all the informations real time with the exporters and importers. Well, that portal is been notified. This portal has been already functioning. Now it is officially notified as the Common Customs Electronic Portal. That is icegate.gov.in. What does this mean now? IceGate will be a platform on which the customs can send you notice, queries, questions. You will be able to file bill of entry. You will be able to retrieve shipping bills. You'll be able to see the details. So all and any communication on and with customs will be done through this common central portal, which is the Common Customs Electronic Portal, the IceGate. The IceGate already offers many tools. The login ID is obviously there. There's a process of login. We will discuss about it. But even without login, even existing exporters are already taking, or importers are already taking benefit of IceGate. To begin with, importers can make payment of their import duties and taxes through IceGate. The tracking of shipment, the customs duty calculation is being done. The people, all those, I believe, right from 2017, we are able to track our IGST refunds. The uploading of documents in the system called the e-Sanchit, which the department as the customs have developed, is also available here. Now, once you have more and more, and once it becomes more and more documentary based, obviously with support of the IT, you require the authority or technical support that the authenticated information or authentic information is being submitted, and only the information who has a right to take gets the information. So the login access is important. For this, there are some challenges or some process to be followed. You require for you to create a login ID, you require some documents to be uploaded. You require your self-certified IEC. You require an authority letter. It could be in name of any one individual who is applying it. In this case, it could also be an authorized person. But in that case, all partners, all directors have to sign. For directors, I prefer a board resolution will be sufficed rather than getting all the directors to sign it. Self-certified copy of that individual person's identity, so Aadhaar, driving license or passport, list of the exports which you want to consider. You will require, here you will compulsory require class 3 digital signature. Well, good news is from 1st of January, there is no more class 2. So class 3 is okay. Somehow other we've understood that the system works fine with Internet Explorer and Internet Explorer 11. It works just about okay with Firefox. It doesn't work, meaning creation of login ID doesn't work with Google Chrome, and it certainly doesn't work with the new Edge, the Internet Explorer Edge. So IE11 is the best bet, and it has been working fine, and that's how we'll have to use that. Some challenges are there on that front. Uh, One important aspect which I want to highlight upon, many exporters way back in 2017-18 had got this IceGate login via an online system which the CBIC had given so that they could check their GST refund tracking. We call them this, it's called the simplified login, meaning they did not give any documents, they did not give anything, but the login ID and password was generated. This was meant for a viewing purpose. Okay, it was not meant to submit, because for submit you need to authenticate it via digital signature. In case if you are having that login, you might have some limited access. What you need to do is you have to convert that simplified login to a DSC based login. So if you log in, you will have an option on the right hand side bottom which says simplified to DSC. Click here, you will be pushed to the page which will ask you for all the documents which I've just elaborated, and then it will go for the system verification. Typically it takes about 24 to 48 hours for the customs to verify it, and then it will allow you, or it will provide you the password, or it will approve your registration into the new DSC based certificate. Why do you need all these login? As we said, most of the things again from the custom perspective is going to move on to this online, and IceGate is going to be that one single point. To begin with, IceGate or the customs has already moved the system of updating or changing the AD code, authorized dealer code, and or bank account details. Bank account meaning AD code is the bank details which is required from you when your buyer makes a payment to you. And the bank details are for your GST refunds and your drawback refunds. Now, if you want to update or change this, earlier you had to manually submit documents to the port. Now you could do it via system. So first and foremost, you need the login. Second, there's a public notice issued by each custom house. The notice is one and the same. Only thing is the email address and the details, the issuing authority is different. I have given you a draft of, or I have given you an example of the most popular port, which is Nhava Sheva. I know for a fact it is similar or the same copy paste public notice issued by various other custom houses, depending on which custom house you are exporting from. Typically, you require 6 documents. There's an annexure required from the bank on the bank's letterhead, IC copy, GST copy, your PAN card of the company, PAN card of the directors, and a cancelled check. So once you have submitted all of these, how do you submit it? You will have to first ask your banker to email this annexure A, which is exactly this format, to the mentioned address. In this case, if you see at the bottom also of the letter, it is saying edi@jawarcustoms.gov.in. For air cargo, it will be different. For Mundra, it will be different, so on and so forth. Of course, it will be addressed to Nhava Sheva. In others, it will be addressed to some other, in fact, referring to the different public notice number as well. So once the bank emails this from their email ID to the customs, what you as an exporter have to do, take this bank letter and those other documents, scan it to one PDF file, upload it on the eSanchit platform. Now, how can you upload it if you do not have a digital signature? You can't. So you need a digital signature based login. Once you have got the login ID and password, you can upload these documents digitally signed on the eSanchit platform. One IRN number, that is image reference number, will be generated. What do you do with this image reference number? Link to your application in the module. So in the IceGate, there's an option called financial services, and under financial services, there's an option called bank account management, where you will go and update your AD code giving reference of this image reference, giving details of your bank and updating it in the system. It may sound complicated, but actually it is very simple, provided you have the documentation in place and you can do it sitting at your office, home, or anywhere. You did not have to submit it manually. Now, this is typically very helpful because let's say for an exporter who is based out of Gujarat, and let's say he's exporting from Nhava Sheva, he did not have to send documents to Nhava Sheva physically, or an exporter based out of Mumbai who wants to export via Chennai or some port in South, may not have to go all the way there. It can be done through an online system which is available on these platforms. Not only that, the most awaited news which are going to be waiting all of us is the ROTTEP, the new scheme which has been announced on 1st of January, which is likely to, which is typically saying it is a replacement of MEIS. ROTTEP, which is effective of 1st of January 2021. As of what I understand, as if at least until now, the rates are not yet announced. So we are all waiting very, very patiently and very, very desperately for the rates. Hopefully should get announced at the earliest. But that rate is just a figure. That rate is just what your entitlement were. But how do you claim that entitlement? The entire modalities is going to be through IceGate only. So whether you like it or not, at least even for the ROTTEP, you'll have to go for IceGate registration. You should have a login, which is a DSC based, meaning you have to approve it via DSC. And what you need to do is go to the financial services module, go to the ROTTEP scheme option and create your ROTTEP ledger. So when you click on that, you will come out and you will be able to create this ledger. Now, at this point of time, if your ledger is already active, don't worry, you will not see any figures or the amount will be wrong or you are unable to click anything. Nothing is happening. Fair enough, because the system is not, or the scheme is not yet functioning. The benefit is not yet, it's only capturing, or it is only eligibility, making it eligible for exporters to declare ROTTEP. So once the rate will be announced, once the processes will be announced, once how to create scripts, transfer script, everything will be done, you will be able to function and use it. And again, when you want to use it, obviously means you should have a digital signature, you should have an IceGate login, only then you'll be able to function and use it. So please understand, this is very, very essential now, even from the ROTTEP perspective. What more? IceGate also offers you certain further services. One of the very most common problem, which I'm sure many of you are facing, is that you get emails and love letters from the bank saying, these are your shipping bills which are pending. Now you want to yourself check on what is the status of some shipping bills which are pending or not pending. Then well, on the IceGate, first of all, under the public inquiry option, you have a option where you can check the shipping bill, whether EDPMS, whether the export data processing system has closed it, EDPMS, is it open, is it closed? You can verify it very easily there. And not only from the public management system, if you log in, you still have an option where you can check the shipping bill details and in fact make a request for any errors or rectification in the shipping bill EDPMS. Now, why this is typically done? Let me explain you. There are instances where shipping bill is filed, goods are gone, but for whatever reason, the goods have to come back. It's back to town. Or you have filed the shipping bill, but you could not submit, you could not export within time. So the shipping bill has got purged, it is cancelled, and a new shipping bill is created. But in the system, the shipping bill still remains. And unfortunately, it gets transmitted to the EDPMS, and then the bank is always behind you saying this EDPMS is open, this shipping bill is open. What you need to probably do is that the system has to mention it, it's cancelled or closed. You can use this IceGate service option and get it rectified saying this shipping bill is cancelled, please close it, don't keep it open. Similarly, if it is open, wrongly closed, you can make it open. Those options are available and you can submit the details through this module. A very recent amendment, just for you to understand, in terms of duty drawback has been implemented, since duty drawback is also given through IceGate. In fact, it's yet to get implemented. It will get implemented from 26th of July, effective, that is Monday, which will be that the duty drawback system will also move into an RMS system. Now, typically, what does RMS is? Risk management system. There is a specific criteria based on risk categories that the shipping bill will be processed. Now, as per this risk management phase 2 process, the shipping bill, once it is filed, EGM is generated, it will go through the RMS module, and then based on the RMS module, it will be routed either to an officer or to the drawback scrolling system. The circular intends or circular clarifies that this will basically make it system driven, and it will also make it easier for drawback claims, quick dispersal of refunds to the drawback refunds to the exporters. And in case of requirement of a proper officer, working on it, then it will be a standard process. It will not be dependent on individual. It will be a standard rationalized process based on risk management system. So probably you are looking forward for a quick redressal or quick drawback realization also once the RMS system starts implementing from 26th of July 2021. I also want to talk to you about one of the new regulation which has been implemented, though not very popular. In fact, I myself is looking out from some more information. However, we have some limited information as on date, but I thought it's always valid and it's always good that we can at least highlight to you on it. Is on 5th of April 2021, a new rules or new regulation has been implemented. It is called the Customs Verification of Identity and Compliance Regulation. Now, typically, as the name suggests, it is more like a KYC, and it is meant to regulate or may give customs an option that if they feel they want to check some verify the details of the exporter, importer, or a custom broker, the Commissioner of Customs can select and identify those people and ask for certain verification documents. The message of or the information that you are as an exporter or importer, you have been identified and you need to require these documents can be done through the custom portal, that is to the common custom portal, which is basically the ICE gate, or through any other means. Now, what does this mean typically is, in case if your name has been identified, just for your reference, then you as an exporter importer will have to provide the customs information to prove your identity and the verifying that the company is an existing company. Typically, you will have to give your ROC details, your partnership deed agreements, your registration with some associations, your GST documents, your PAN card, your income tax returns, basically to prove that you are engaged in export-import activity and you are available, you are verified, and that's an existing company. Now, this is all have to be done within 30 days. And once you submit, customs still finds a time and customs still feels that the documents are not as per the required details, and it may go for a physical verification within 60 days of the details you have submitted. For any reason it finds that there's an ambiguity or there's a doubt, it can suspend the incentives and other documents, and obviously after verification it can restore, and you can obviously appeal and go for other details against the order in case if they find that the existing exporter details or importer details are not correct and they are not able to verify the identity. Now, this more or less looks like a policing or checking of the details because of a lot of fraudulent activities, but as of date it is not yet, I've not seen any cases or any issues coming up forward, but it is always good that we know that this regulation exists and you might have a letter or two sometime asking for verifying it. Going by the same concept of making sure the companies are verified, companies are authenticated, companies are good, the World Customs Organization, WCO, created a global concept called AEO, Authorized Economic Operator, and have informed each customs to create their own AEO program on the lines of their program. India also created that. India has an AEO India program, which is divided into 4 categories: category T1, T2, T3, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and LO. LO is for the logistic operators or your CHAs and your custom brokers. As an exporter or importer, you can apply for T1, T2, or T3 category. Now, when you apply this, or these applications was further simplified for T1, making it online, making it without any physical verification, making for an MSME little less burdensome instead of 3 years, 2 years, and limited documentation. The good news now is that for T2 and T3 category also, they have upgraded the entire software and created an online module. So now even an AEO T2 and a T3 can apply online, and it is optional until 31st of July, but from 1st of August, it will be compulsory that the entire AEO process of application will be via online only. The module is already upgraded. The website is already functioning with the new module. It is the aeoindia.gov.in. So an existing exporter who is, or an importer eligible for AEO T1 may also be eligible for T2. And then sometimes because of certain, physical verification or submission or other things, you tend to say, okay, no, I want to apply for T1 only. Then, well, you can go for T2 now because now it's online. Certainly T3 is only eligible for people who have T2 for a period of 2 years at least. So T3 will only be eligible for T2, but your all T1, T2, T3 now will be completely online, web-based processing, which you can check, monitor, and get hold of. So all those who are wanting to apply for AEO can look out for these options as well. Finally, before I come to the conclusion part, let me also try and give you an update on imports, because as an exporter, you might also have to import. We all know import is now completely almost faceless. It has been upgraded from 15th of July to make it almost 90% risk-based, automated. And because of this being, geographically divided between various segments and various people under the system under FAGs, faceless assessment groups, there was challenges of timing and other things. So there was a circular issue to, make it a little streamlined process. So now all the FAGs have to be working between 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on any working day. If there is a query or there is a decision requirement on bill of entry, it will be done within 3 working hours. Not more than 3 queries on one bill of entry can an FAG or an appraising officer, raise. There's an entire new division or new working being done under the FAGs. So the FAGs are nothing but faceless assessment groups. So there are groups divided for various chapters. So depending upon your product and your HSN codes, you will have those custom of FAG groups where your bill of entry will automatically, digitally go for assessment. In case if there is a delay, you can now even escalate. There's a process called AEM, anonymized escalation mechanism, where you can take it up and relevant officer or relevant delay can be questioned and the processing can be taken on a faster track. So entire process has been enhanced, and faceless, which has already been implemented, is now going to be much better and much faster. All right. The second part of the CBIC system is the GST, the indirect. Mostly we are all in clue with it, in sync with what is happening on the GST module. I'm sure most of you are getting refunds and other things. 2 points which I have to share on the GST front. Number one is there was one clarification issued from the department in terms of the calculation. So there's a formula it is used to calculate refund when you apply, when you export under LUT and you apply refund of your input credit, the ITC refund, that is called refund under Rule 89.4. So if you apply refund for that, there was a formula, and that formula was then capped to 150% of the domestic value or similar local value. The confusion was because that formula, this turnover of the export, which was capped, is a numerator value, and then it had to be divided with the total turnover. The confusion was that in total turnover, which includes export, what value to be taken? Do we take the 150 value capped value, or do we take the actual value? Each jurisdictional officer were having different versions of it. Fortunately, with the circular, it has been now clarified that if you are capping that value to 150%, then when you calculate the adjusted total turnover, that also has to be only capped at 150, meaning in calculation of that export, total value, the export amount will be exactly the same plus domestic, and then you will get the formula. So that clarification, in fact, the clarification is so beautifully drafted with an example and illustration available that there cannot be any further ambiguity on it. Second, which I want to talk about GST is much talked about change which has been implemented in the budget of 2021. So the budget had one clause which had said that Section 16 of the IGST Act, Section 16 of the IGST Act is the section which basically says an exporter or a person who is making zero rated supply can either export under LUT or under paid IGST. So there was a word or. The budget of 2021 actually said that or was gone away, only LUT, and there was a subsection 4 which was added that a specific list of products will be allowed under paid IGST, or a specific people will be allowed for a paid IGST export. Now, this rule or this law has not yet been implemented. And when the finance bill got assent of the president, the bill or the act itself says that there were some sections which will be notified separately, and that is the date on which it will become the act, or it will become a part of the act. That sections are section 108 to 123 of the Finance Act. The reference of this change in section 16 is that is section number 123 of the Finance Act 2021, which means until it is notified separately, it is not yet a law, which means even today, as we speak, you have an option of LUT or paid. However, it is assumed, because it is part of the budget and it was announced, it is assumed that at some point of time, government will notify it. And that means that exporters from that point of time will only have an option of LUT, and only a specific people will get an option, or specific products will get an option for paid IGST or exporting under paid IGST. As of today, as of now, this has not been notified. So don't worry, we can continue the way we are doing as eligible as per the current law. I'm only giving you an update that it has not been implemented. It is not yet notified. So don't get confused. You can still go for LUT or for paid option, whichever you like. So lastly, the icing on the cake, we are doing a session along with Yes Bank. And I mean, I cannot be not talking about something which banks offer. So through RBI through banks offer you the interest equalization scheme. So what is an interest equalization scheme? It is a scheme where you get interest equalization or interest subvention, as they call it as, for a MSME manufacturer, it is 5%. For a large manufacturer or for a merchant exporter of 416 items, which have been notified by RBI, it is 3%. This interest equalization, which is nothing but pre-shipment or post-shipment rupee credit loan or rupee credit, this is available, or it was available till 31st of March 2020, was extended due to COVID for 31st of March 2021, further extended till 30th of June 2021, and now it's extended till 30th of September 2021. So all those who wish to get the benefit of interest equalization, who are eligible, can certainly take the benefit of it until September of 21, and hopefully if it continues further than that, take benefit furthermore. All right. So with this, I have to come out and say thank you to all of you. I hope this has been an information which is good enough for you. I did see somewhere somebody mentioning about this presentation. Certainly it will be shared with all of you, including the Plex Council and Yes Bank. However, if anybody wishes to directly download, the presentation is available on the link called speakersco.com/Plex Council. Once again, thank you, Mr. Amit Pal and the team at Yes Bank for inviting me. And I'm very happy to have been able to address this. Thank you so very much. And I'll give it back to Mr. Pal. Thank you, sir.
Mihir, I think there is a question for you in the chat box. In
Yes,
the DGFT server, we are facing problems for the amendment of CIF finance.
Yes. Okay. Let me quickly take some questions. So Sailesh Bhai has a question. Sailesh ji, I've already explained. The link is available. I will share the link also in the chat for all of you. It's www.speakerscore.com. patreon.com/plexconsel. So you can feel free to log in, and I'm sure Plex Council and Danish and others will make sure that they get the presentation. Plex members, as somebody said, in DGFT server, we are facing problem for amendment of CIF enhancement, particularly in case we have already invalidated ARO were taken, not able to make application, error comes, import export rate is missing. Uh, well, I'm not aware of what exactly is the issue, but what you're saying, I understand when you have taken already an ARO. Now, if you've already taken an ARO, which means your ARO is already issued, I doubt that an amendment would be possible. So first you'll have to cancel the ARO and then go for an amendment and get a fresh amendment. Because typically when ARO is already issued, unless an ARO is cancelled, I fail to see the chance of this happening. My simplest request would be, whoever the gentleman or lady is in the question, is please raise a ticket on the DGFT server. It has a very good ticketing query system. Raise it on the appropriate section and the online system, and I'm sure putting your reference, putting the screenshot, it will be able to, you will be able to get a appropriate reply, not only from the DGFT side, but I think the team who will be taking care, it will also look at the software side and who will check with the software team and help you on how it can be done. So I think that's the best way to look forward for that. But I have I think there's a challenge is basically you will have to first cancel the ARO and then go for it. Okay, you have exported goods to Afghanistan, but in the shipping bill, our consignee address shows for Iran. Now we got the payment in USD. All right. Well, it's a tricky situation. Danish is smiling because he has heard Iran and he says, okay, don't come to me. We are not talking about it. I do understand, Danish. Iran is Iran or any of these is an issue. Sir, my problem is if it was exported to Afghanistan and your consignee is Iran. Danish, do you want to take this? Would you have this challenge? This is one question which a bankers has a problem is that the consignee is Iran, but the payment which is buyer, which is genuine from Afghanistan, will you still have as a banker will have a problem?
Nikhil, Mihir, I would say over here that just ask this gentleman to share the details. We can take this thing offline. We'll speak to them one-on-one and understand it properly. And then we can subsequently guide if we are not able to do so, where they can approach for the same. And
yeah, so I think Iran is consigning, payment from Iran is a problem. I don't think the payment from Afghanistan should be a problem, but I do understand there's a challenge, but you'll have to sit with your banker and understand and get it. And Danish has already mentioned, you can share the details with Danish and see what they can help you out as well.
You can share the number one-on-one with me, sir. And post this session also, you will receive my mail ID and everything. So wherever there is a challenge, you can always write me or call me up. If you guys want, you can jot down my number, which is...
Danish, why don't you write down your number in the chat? I think that would be easier.
Yeah,
mail and mobile number and email.
In the chat.
Yeah.
Danish.
You'll have to select all panelists. Huh? All panelists.
Yeah.
Okay. So, meanwhile, the gentleman says, oh, you have partly used ARO, cancellation is not possible. Sir, I doubt then how can you will be able to amend it. I think there's a challenge on that. That should be a difficult position then. Because you have partly used it, now amending is going to be a difficult situation. Mr. Sridhar has a question. ROTEP scheme is applicable for exports under... Mr. Sridhar, now for ROTEP, what has happened is that there was a press release issued on 31st of December at 8:40, and there's an advisory which is issued. And unfortunately, the advisory said that advance authorization, EOU, and similar will not be eligible for ROTEP. Now, I'm sure Mr. Amit Pal would agree. I'm sure most of the councils have returned to the DGFT explaining the details, and we are waiting for the, some insights on ROTEP and other details to come as the earliest. But as it stands now, you cannot get ROTTEP with advanced license or advanced authorization. So if you're exporting under advanced authorization, ROTTEP is there. Mr. Pal, you want to add something, sir?
Yes, I think what you said is basically correct, because we have got similar kind of queries from our member exporters earlier, and our Kolkata office has also clarified that what you just talked about, that these companies cannot take the benefit of the rod tape. It is only specifically mentioned in the guideline. But having said that, I would like to ask you a question. Look, now the rod tape percentage is not yet announced on the product basis. So what we are doing at the moment while we are exporting, similarly, like claiming MEIS, we used to give an undertaking on the export invoice itself that we hereby export the goods under MEIS, something like that. The similar kind of sentence, we are also putting for rod tape claim, though there's no rod tape, uh, you know, um, so far been declared by the government of India. As far as the different products are concerned, the list will be out. We have heard very soon, but we don't know when it's going to be out. So in this context, I would like to ask you, as you talked about during your presentation, that every exporter need to basically open, uh, account in the ice gate, right? But generally what happens is that the customs house agent, while filing the CPA, filing the shipping bill, they do the needful. Do you mean to say before the percentage is out, we ought to open a rod tape account, before we, export? Because we have been doing it for quite some time, and though we do not have any kind of rod tape percentage as yet, right? We
So
have been
Amit sir,
shipping
the
bill.
question, the point is the ledger, whether you open now or you open after the rate is announced, is have no impact. So, so the ledger will only be useful, obviously, once the rate is announced, because then you can do activity. It's like your wallet. Unless you activate it, you will not be able to use those ROTTEP amounts. So whether you become prepared now or you wait until the ROTTEP is announced and then you open the ledger, it is both is okay. It doesn't make any material difference. The condition which was mentioned in the advisory for you to claim ROTTEP is there is a field in the shipping bill called the single window declaration, where you have to mention ROTTEP Y, and in the declaration column you have to mention RD001. Now, this declaration does not get approved if it is an advance authorization. I also agree on that. So if you have an advance authorization scheme selected and you go for ROTTEP Y, the shipping will not be generated. It will come with a negative mark and you cannot do it. So you'll have to say ROTTEP no for it. But whether the ledger has to be coming or not, I don't see an. So why I'm saying is you need to be prepared, because once the ledger is ready, so once your IceGate is account is open and you have created the ledger, whenever the rates will be announced, I'm sure obviously it will take some time for the rate, once it is announced, the system to process it and then to credit that exact amount of ROTTEP into your ledger. And once those shipping bills will start flowing in, you will be able to create duty credit scripts or use it for your imports and whatever action you want to do. So that for that action, the ledger is required. We are only being prepared today so that once the ledger is, once the ROTTEP rates are announced, that point of time, we don't have to wait for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 days more. But ledger can be created today, or you can wait and create at the time when you have to, when you get the rates. Does not matter.
Okay, very well. Because I have just got it, very loud and clear. I mean, your point is very, very, informative, and this is basically an important arena, which we most of the,
But I would always prefer, Pal sir, that at least we keep the ledger ready and do it so that, rather than wait. Because again, I'm saying there are some challenges when you have to create your IceGate login and it takes some time. Maybe your DSC is not working. Things like that keeps on happening. Now, if that takes about 10, 15 days, you are ready with your
yes,
ledger
it is better to act,
when the rate
act
is
like
announced.
create it beforehand.
Yes, right.
We have time. Yes.
Okay,
Thanks.
ROTTEP is not a replacement of MEIS. Obviously, so I'll tell you what, it is optional with advance. Well, technically, let me tell you, ROTTEP is, so let me put it. MEIS or ROTTEP is not either or it is not a replacement. It is a loose replacement, which as an exporter we call it. The government obviously does not say so, because even if you go to the basics of it, MEIS is a promotional scheme or was a promotional scheme, whereas ROTTEP by definition is a refund of duties and taxes which were not refunded, which are not refunded in way of in during the exports. Typically, let's say the electricity duty, the VAT on fuel which is used in transport. So those are very typically, they are both different. But loosely, it has been said that okay, MEIS is closed and ROTTEP is allowed. But yes, I completely agree. It is not exactly a replica or a replacement. I also agree it is not a replacement, because if MEIS was there, advanced authorization and MEIS both was eligible. In this case, it is not. We have to wait for a clarification, because I understand right from the time it has been issued, most of the councils, including Plex Council, would have sent representations to the DGFT and to the ministry and to the finance, in fact, to the, I believe, to the ROTTEP committee on this issue, that advance authorization and ROTTEP both should also be available. Let us wait for some clarifications as we will receive as and when it comes. Okay, so Danish, that gentleman name is Mr. Okay, I think it went away.
I got his details.
Okay, fine, and it is at Yes Bank, so maybe you'll have to. Okay, great. So I think it's your forte. Okay, I think Bharti had a question. Bharti, we have yet to commence our production. We wish to avail EPCG. Can we avail EPCG as a merchant exporter without bank guarantee? Okay, two things. First of all, EPCG scheme predominantly is part of a manufacturer exporter. If you want as a merchant exporter, you certainly need a manufacturer exporter as your as a supporting manufacturer, because unless you are unless you have a manufacturer exporter as a supporting manufacturer, it will not be eligible. Second, without bank guarantee, well, bank guarantee, quantum of bank guarantee is governed through a custom notification, which basically is to look out for what is your previous exports and what is the liability. If you, let's say you are an export house, being a merchant exporter also, you will not have to give a bank guarantee. Bond is only required. But whether it is eligible for bank guarantee or not, it is completely through a custom notification. And do note in the notification, there is a proviso which says, even if it is so, if the commissioner of customs feel or the officer feels that he requires you to give a guarantee, he will call for a guarantee. So there are criterias which includes your GST registration, which includes your turnover, which includes whether you are a status holder or not. And based on that, it will reply. So merchant or no merchant, I mean, bank guarantee is a completely different prerogative. It is related to customs. Whereas whether you can avail a EPCG scheme or not, first of all, my question is, why would you need a machinery if you are not a manufacturer? If you are going to install it at some other place, then you obviously need to have a supporting manufacturer who is going to be there as a part of your licensing application. Okay, is there any restriction of exporting plastic product to Pakistan? Well, friend, let me tell you, for Pakistan, there is no, in fact, for I think most of the countries or none of the countries, India doesn't have any restriction. For Pakistan, typically, it is a reverse. Pakistan has a negative list. Pakistan has a negative list where Pakistan importer cannot import these goods which are exported from India. So you have to check that negative list. If that negative list has your product, then you can't. That means your importer can't. India has no issue. India has no restrictions whatsoever. So India has no restrictions on that. If I want to import from one country and supply to another country directly, do I need to comply with any regulation or registration? So you import from one country and you export from another country. This export to another country, this is called technically merchanting trade. Locally or loosely, it is called as third country transaction. People call it drop shipment. Typically, you can only do export or import of items which are not restricted in India. So I'll give you an example. When face masks were prohibited for export from India, even if you buy from, let's say, Thailand and export to USA, you couldn't do it because the product has to be freely exportable from India as well. If it is prohibited, if it's restricted, you cannot do it. There is a regulation. There's no regulation in terms of foreign trade policy because it is neither export nor import. What you have to do is comply for the RBI regulation, and you can refer to para C14 of the master directions on import of goods by the RBI. So that is going to take care of your merchanting trade transaction, which is there. All right. I see some more questions. Okay. Okay. With regard to AEO format available for solvency, Bharti solvency certificate, I think it is available in the part. If not, it's basically a chartered accountant who has to just certify that there's a, I mean, the company is a solvent company. There is no, I do remember there's a format available on the website, on the application format. But if not, then it is just the chartered accountant who can provide a statement certificate, I mean, a certificate which says that the company is solvent and there is no other issue. Maybe I would also check if I have a copy of that format, I mean, that certificate, I can share it with you specifically. Okay. Are the questions any pending on this? Let me quickly check on Q&A. Yes, there are. If old DSC is expired, then how to register a new DSC on IceGate platform? Okay, anonymous attendee. Fantastic. This is one problem which is there. So if there's an old DSC, so what you do is log in, go to your profile, go to the digital signature option, click on it, and update it with your new DSC. It happens perfectly fine without any problem. I'll give you a quick tip. Use Internet Explorer 11. Don't use Google Chrome for it. 11, Internet Explorer 11 or above works fantastic. It is ideally a 5 minutes job. Do note your new DSC should be a class 3 digital signature. It works fine. There's no problem. Sir, I have another question regarding advance order. Okay, redemption. If we have applied for redemption, we need to pay 200 rupees per license as an amendment fee, whereas amendment is different para. No, I don't think so. Redemption doesn't require you an. So the redemption doesn't require you a fee. It's an amendment of license which requires you a fee. There is some confusion. So let me just give you an idea. I don't know if this is relevant and this is what you're referring to. If you have an old license, when I say old license, I refer to licenses issued prior to 1st of December 2020. If you have an advance authorizations which are issued prior to 1st December 2020, before this new system was implemented, what needs to be done is there are some information which is not captured in this new system based on the new system, because the old system was different. It had different format, different questions, different answers. Now, what are you required to do is you are required to apply for an amendment request, whereas actually you're not amending anything, but you are migrating that old license into a new system license with all the information as per the new requirement. And there's a column which says, asks you that what is the reason for an amendment, and you will mention there that it is a validation request. So it is a validation request. Now, because it goes under the amendment option, there you have to pay 200 rupees. Once it is migrated to the new system, meaning it is available in this new system to do all sorts of services, then obviously you can apply for redemption, you can apply for whatever it is. I quickly, just one quick second, is I'm going to quickly share that screen for that person. I hope you are able to see it. Danis, are we able to see the DGFT website?
Yeah.
So if you see at the red note here, it's very clearly says invalidation, revalidation of anything before 1st of December, you'll have to follow 2 steps. You are required to first amend it. And while you're amending, you can just write the reason is this is validation request, submit it, pay 200 rupees as the fee. And what will happen is the license, which was an old system issued license, will get converted into this new system data. And then you can do whatever is required to. So this is the detail which you have to look at. And I think that's the question for it. So if you go for application, sorry, let me come back to the question. If you go for redemption application first, you need to amend, but ultimately we pay 200. Sir, you're paying, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You are paying 200 for amendment of the license. You're not paying. So technically, you're not paying for redemption. There's a difference. Conceptually, there's a difference. I understand you are any which was paying 200 in whatever pretext. I do agree on that. But yeah, there is a difference there. Okay, so I have done with this. What is it? How can we export to Iran? Maximum Bank are not handling Iran. Well, Iran, Danish, you want to take that question?
There are certain restrictions, sir, because of which we are not doing it. But as far as I believe, I have to check once, because I believe a few banks are authorized for it. Maybe SBI.
UCO Bank and IDBI. Two banks are taking it.
Exactly. So we can I believe you have already shared the number, so the team will connect with you either by today evening or maybe tomorrow. They will connect. You can discuss in detail, and we'll fetch you all the information, and let us understand the kind of transaction you wanted to do, and accordingly we'll help you out in that. Don't worry.
UCO Bank has just for a quick update, UCO Bank is very active in the INR space for Iran. And I'll tell you what, the head office based at Mumbai is the nodal agency or nodal office for Iran. And it has a very good help desk. Maybe you want to check on that. So you can do through UCO Bank. And there is a setup on that. You can figure it out. There's no problem. You don't need to open a CC account with UCO Bank. Hello, don't worry on that. I'm aware that you don't need an account. It is a process. It's a routing which is done. You can check out and speak to UCO Bank. I am not asking you to open a new account anywhere. If we have one EPCG ready to submit for redemption DGFT manually, but due to use more duty, I need to make payment of excess duty of utilization. As currently EMPS is not working, how do I make? My request would be, sir, EMPS is not working. I do understand that. First, submit it. If you have a DL, I think you'll have to speak to the regional office there. They will be able to assist you. If you have a DL copy already saying that pay and EMPS is not working, I completely agree. You will have to raise a ticket online, and I'm sure the system guys will be able to help you out with a payment option. So I do agree there's a problem on that front. So, all right. I think I have answered most of the questions.
Samirji will definitely share the presentation with you. Don't worry on that part. In case
so the link is shared, Samirji, but however, the presentation will be shared by Danish and the team. Don't worry.
Yeah. In case you didn't get it, you can always mark me a mail. I have already shared my mail ID as well as the mobile number. So not to worry on that part.
Yes, sir. I think I have done with all the questions. Anything from your end, sir, or anything which I missed?
No, I think it was a very good session so far. After a pretty long time, we have been able to, conduct a webinar. Very honestly, Mr. Shah, that I'm sure most of the member exporters would definitely get in touch with you through Mr. Danis, and I'm sure that we all have been very much, I would say, in some or the other, you have been very much able to lucidly explain this intricacy and the complex notifications of the customs, GST and DGFT. And I'm sure we all have benefited that. At least I have been able to, gather some knowledge about which even I was not aware of, though I have been exporting almost close to a decade. But very honestly, I didn't know, especially about the AEO and the rod tip account opening part. So thank you very much. And we thank you about the, I would say, for such a presentation that we would remember it for quite some time. And it was basically time well spent. And we also thank Yes Bank, because of roping in, for this. As far as the panelist is concerned, I would say Mr. Shah and Mr. Junjunwala, you people have been very great. And in case if your member exporter, they have any further question or query post this seminar, they can get in touch with us and we will forward it to Mr. Danis, so that the same can be answered by you. Thank you very much. And we have come to the end of the seminar and would, request Mr. Danis to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of VS Bank.
Thank you, Mr. Pal. First of all, I would like to thank on behalf of both Yes Bank and Plex Council to all the participants who took out time and came to attend this session. And I hope they got the key takeaways today. and Mihir would be successfully able to, I think and I firmly believe that Mihir would be successfully able to add something in your knowledge levels and try to say diminish your issues that you are having. So we are all very much reachable. You will receive the mails from our side and you can write us back on any of the queries. Further, you will receive the presentations. In case you have any queries, you can always give us a call or you can write us back. Our teams would be reaching you. So I would only urge and request you to just hear them out. We have certain plans, certain schemes. There was a technical glitch from the Nikhil side in the beginning of the session, due to which he was not able to convey the messages properly. But nevertheless, the teams will be there to help you out and tell what all Yes Bank is to offer. And there are so many things which are, believe you me, are very well for the plastic industry. And we are doing wonderful work in this segment. A lot of customers are coming to us and we are providing them a lot of solutions. So thank you so much once again, everybody, for coming and joining the session. We would like to finally thanks to Mihir. Mihir, such a wonderful session once again, like every time, and it was very knowledgeable for me as well. A lot of things I have learned today regarding the ice gate and other pieces. And finally, to Mr. Nilotpal Biswas, Amit Palji, Mr. Prasan Lohia, who has been very helpful, always be there from the Press Council side to help and support us. And we just wanted to take this collaboration to the next level by doing such kind of knowledge session, as well as some kind of MOU if we can do to help out the members in getting all the benefits from the Yes Bank side. Maximum benefit we wanted to give. So I'll discuss with you offline on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay safe,
Thank you
guys.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jai.